Hello, David here at merchantaccounts.ca. Today I'm going to tackle the topic of how on earth do you win a chargeback. Stay tuned, we'll dig in 1 second. So winning a chargeback is all about preparation. I'm going to start this video so people don't get 5 minutes in and be like, hey, you didn't give me the secret password to win the chargeback. There's no secret password to win the chargeback. It's mostly about preparation. That is the bad news. If you're here because you're in the middle of a chargeback, there are things you can do. You can still, I do have a little advice in this video about how to organize the content and stuff, but it's a lot about preparation. So let's start talking about the problems so you can start preparing. The main problem is that the card issuer doesn't know you and they don't care about you. And unfortunately, they have all the decision-making power. And I'm talking about the bank that gave the card to the cardholder. So when you get a chargeback and you upload your dispute, like your side of the story, the processor only uploads that via through the Visa MasterCard network, and then the issuer reviews it. And like I said, the problem is that they don't care about you. They care about their cardholder. So from the start, it's an uphill battle. So if you're going to fight that battle, you need to know the reason and be very concise and accurate about why you should win this chargeback. So let's start with the reason. The largest reason that merchants often run into is fraud. If you get a chargeback and the reason for that chargeback is fraud, how can you prove that it wasn't fraud? That's really hard because a lot of the time it might really be fraud. If someone stole your credit card, bought a bunch of stuff online with it, and it really wasn't you, well then they shouldn't be stuck with that loss. That's not how the Visa MasterCard system works. So what you could win though is friendly fraud. That's where it's a person who really did buy something, they enjoyed the benefit of the service, and then they turn around and say, hey, I never bought this. Well, that is a problem. So what can you do? How can you prove that that customer was really them? One example might be if you're using if you have a type of service where you have to interact with your customer in person, which is rare but not totally rare for e-commerce businesses, and you have documentation, you can show them physically taking delivery or something. Well, you can do that. But outside of that, it's actually, coming back to the preparation, even a step before preparation, particularly with fraud, it's better to spot those orders and don't let them through, because you really can't win a fraud chargeback if it's really fraud. I have other content on the channel about spotting and stopping fraud. You might want to check that out. Now, one of the other chargeback reasons codes is non-delivery of service. Well, that's a much better one for you to be able to prove, because if a customer received the benefit of what they paid for and then they tried to get their money back, that's not fair. Think of a gym membership. Well, I didn't get what I paid for. Well, here's footage of you on our security cam doing sit-ups for half an hour. So you basically need to prove that the customer got something. Again, going back to my other example, showing that the customer took delivery. That would prove that the service was rendered. Another example is, let's say you have a digital, a service where you're giving monthly tips on relationship advice. It's like some newsletter or something. And you have a website where people log in and they access the newsletter. Well, if you have logs, you say, hey, here's this person. They logged in 10 times last month and clearly enjoyed the benefit of our service. You can prove that they got what they paid for. Now, the next one is service not as described. And again, that's another one where you have to prove that the customer got what they paid for. Boy, I'm sounding really repetitive. But in this case, what you would lay out is in your terms and conditions very clearly what the customer was supposed to receive, and then you prove that they received it. Hey, we give our customer these tips on, picking winning stocks, and they got those tips, and so you just put together the case. Now, I'm going to move on to probably the more important step here. So this is about thinking ahead. As you can see, I'm trying to help you think about your specific business and the type of disputes that are most likely to arise between you and your customers. Because you probably can think about your business and think of the most likely type of disputes. How can you tighten up your terms and conditions? How can you ensure delivery? Really think about what you can do. And don't slip and let fraud through. If you do sell high ticket items, really screen those very carefully, because you can't just ship expensive stuff out the door. You have to take care of yourself. Now, here's the important bit. If you're already in a chargeback, be concise. So I'm going to say it again. The issuer doesn't care about you. If you try and win a chargeback, you have to win it in the first 3 sentences. That's how I approach it. I assume that it's going to some disinterested person who's not involved, really doesn't care. They have a list of disputes on their desk to get through like this. So you hit them over the head with it. You make it so clear that if a kindergarten child read this thing or had it read to them, they'd be like, this is crazy. We the merchant, we provided everything we were supposed to do. We have to win this chargeback. You absolutely make it that concise because you want them to read it. If you make it 600 pages long, it's not going to help you. So in conclusion, fighting chargebacks and fraud is very specific to the business. If you are prepared, it helps you be able to put together a better case. And then when you organize your case, be ultra concise. Hit them over the head. Do it at the top of the first page. I hope if you came here looking for an answer to how to win a specific chargeback that you're not frustrated with this video, because it's too situationally specific. But if you do have questions about a specific chargeback, reach out to us at merchantaccounts.ca. There is no secret handshake or secret password, but we can help you frame it. We can help you understand what the rules are. And if you've done what you are supposed to do, then you can win that chargeback. And as a very last note, if you do lose the chargeback because the card issuer decides with their cardholder, even though you feel you've put together a really clear and compelling case and you think they have it wrong, you can send that case to Visa and MasterCard for arbitration. We have another video on our channel here about Visa and MasterCard arbitration. Basically, you pay a big chunk of money, and then Visa steps in and mediates it, and they're a much more, or MasterCard, they're a much more impartial party, and the loser pays the several $100 arbitration fee. But that's not a video, that's not a topic for this video. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day there, and thanks for watching. Bye now.